Hey again everyone, Tim here from timscomputerfix.net. Hey, in this video I want to talk about some basics when it comes to testing and troubleshooting cable, whether it be network cable, coax cable, telephone cable. In this video I'm going to really concentrate on the Ethernet cable. So in a home environment, a basic environment where you have a modem and a router, say, and then you have Cat5 cable running from one room to the other, maybe from, say, the modem or the router to a computer in the house, okay? And or maybe you have a couple of them or whatever, and you're having issues getting, say, network or internet on one of the computers, or maybe you don't have, maybe you're suspecting an issue, or the cable, the Cat5 cable might be in question between one of those runs, whether it be between the modem and the router or the router and the computers. You have to verify, if you're having network issues, you have to verify whether it's actually a computer issue, a software issue, modem or router issue, or a cable issue. So here is one of the basic ways you can test your network cable in a simple, say, like in a simple environment with, say, just not even a handful of computers involved. So really, there are several ways of going about testing your cables. One of them is the most primitive way, and it's the least productive way of doing it, which would be actually replacing the cable and testing the network, or replacing the cable and seeing if it fixes the problem. That is definitely a way you could do it. It's time consuming, and if you have a long run, or you have a lot of cables, or you have this modem or router or computers in a bad area, you're unplugging cables and swapping cables can be very time consuming, and to be quite honest, not very professional. There's an easier way to do it, and it's with cable testers, okay? And I've got a basic cable tester here, and all this does really, and I don't even know what model this is. I mean, it says ST-45. I don't know who makes this, but you can find these on Amazon or Newegg or eBay, whatever. Very inexpensive, basic cable tester. Okay, this is going to basically just test our Ethernet cable. Right, and this just uses a 9-volt battery, and this comes in two parts. Basically, you have this part here that you can plug your one end of your Ethernet cable into, and then you have this is the sender, this is the receiver. So you can, on the other end of your cable run, you just plug the other end here, okay? And this patch cable here just represents any cable run. This is just an example to kind of show you how this works, okay? So, and then there's a switch. Basically, you just throw the switch, and you have a series of lights that come on. Now, where the test comes into play, where this test comes into play is these series of lights need to be in order, and they need to be, none of them need to be red, and they don't need to be jumping around. They need to be in order, up to down. Notice how this is starting at top and it's going right to the bottom. It's not skipping any order, and it's not changing colors, okay? That basically just tells you that cable is okay. No issues with that cable as far as continuity goes, and it's pretty accurate, but again, this is only going to give you continuity reading, at least let you know that the Ethernet ends here are wired in the correct order, and I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, pretty basic here. I mean, it's relatively inexpensive for one of these, and you know, that's one way to do it. So that you could pretty much bet that there's nothing wrong with the cabling when using this. Okay, again, this type of tester is really good for just simple, say, residential network setups with, you know, a modem or router and maybe, you know, a few computers. You only have a few runs to test. This is fine. However, in places of business, this may not be the ideal tool to use. In business, there are multiple cable runs. It could be dozens of computers. In a business environment, tracking down a bad line using this can be very time consuming. So let me show you a recommendation I have for you here. This is what I have. This is called a Fluke Networks IntelliTone Pro. This is a model 200, and this is a little bit more of a professional cable testing tool. I highly recommend the Fluke products for testing. They are professional products, and let me give you a little rundown here of how this works, okay? But this basically tests coax, Ethernet, RJ11 and RJ45. Both fit into this slot here. And then there are probes that you can snap in here that come with the kit that you can use to test for your phone lines. But in this video, I'm just going to talk strictly about the Ethernet. Okay, so very similar to this old style here. You know, you can test cable lines, but what's unique about this is that this allows you to trace down an Ethernet cable that is mixed in with a bundle of Ethernet cables. And when you're in a business environment, you're going to run into that. You're going to have a room that's going to have most likely a patch panel, and with multiple runs going to that, and from the patch panel you're going to have multiple runs from there going to the switch. So, and tracking down these cables can be quite difficult without a toner, and this makes it quite simple. And I'll give you an example. Okay, well, let's first talk about cable mapping on this. This device uses 9-volt batteries on both. So both ends need 9-volt batteries here on this. Okay, and for cable mapping, similar to the other device we were using to test with, one end of the RJ45 goes in on the signal sender. This will send signals, okay, and then wherever this cable runs throughout the building, you can test how that cable is wired to be sure that the Ethernet cable is wired properly. Have both ends connected together. So in this case, say for instance you just created your own patch cable, okay? Let's just say you created this patch cable and you want to test it before using it, okay? Or let's just say you've just ran a line from one side of a building to the other, and now you want to test to be sure it is wired correctly, okay, once you put the ends on, right? So this is what we do. We'll go ahead and tell this device to send a signal, So now this device is sending a signal. And now we wanted to tell this device to cable map. So we want to see, just like this one, we want to see a succession of lit lights going down in order here. But the beauty of this device here, it also makes noises, so it also gives you an audible. So let's go ahead and flip this to cable map. Okay, so this tells me that this patch cable here is wired properly. If this was not wired properly, you would get different succession of numbers lighting up, and you would also get a different audible sound. So obviously, since this Fluke is a little bit more of a more advanced professional product, this device here is a lot less expensive than this. This is a little bit more pricey. I picked this particular model up from Amazon for around $186. So it's a bit more pricey than this guy, which is probably wasn't even around 30 bucks. But this is a lot more of an advanced tool. So now I'm going to show you the feature that really makes this Fluke shine. This is the best feature, I think, with this. It's going to save you tons of time when you walk into an already established, already networked, already cabled job, and they're having issues with their network system. Either a computer's down, internet's down, something on their network is down, and you're having to trace lines and find cables. This is where the tracking feature of this device is phenomenal. It will save you time, guaranteed. Okay, so let me give you an example here. Okay, so when you get into a business environment, and this right here really isn't a good example of this, but again, what you're going to find is patch panels with multiple cables terminated to it, and then from the patch panel you'll have more patch cables running from that to the router, which is similar to this, and I've got several computers and the network and everything and such plugged into this. Okay, so let's just say, for instance, I'm having an issue with the router that's supplying the network connectivity to this switch. Okay, and that router is located in another part of the building, which is the case here. More than likely, in your business environment, all of that, the router, the modem, and switch will all be in one location. But I'm just giving you an example here. Let's just say, for instance, that I'm having trouble with the router sending the proper network connectivity we need to this switch. So what I need to do is I need to figure out which one of these lines actually goes to the switch. And when these are all running up in the walls and there's no way of knowing, usually they're all the same color, so there's no real way of knowing which one of these is the one that goes to the router in this situation. So I'm going to show you how the Fluke device makes the job really easy to trace down exactly which one of these lines is actually the one that I need for troubleshooting. Okay, first I'm going to go back to the router and start from there. So let's just say that we're here at the router and we know that this line is the line that goes back to that switch. Okay, so we have to test to be sure that this cable is okay between here, the router, and the switch that is all the way on the other side of the building. Okay, so we want to eliminate the fact that there might be a wiring issue, so we can eliminate that as the problem and look into hardware or the computer or the router or the modem or what have you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead. And we're going to plug our cable into the Fluke here that's going to give me the signal, and I'm going to switch it to signal so it'll send a signal. Okay, so now let's go back to our switch on the other side of the original switch. Let's go back to it, and I'm going to show you how we can locate this cable. So now we got to figure out which one of these that our Fluke device is sending the signal down that we have it hooked up back at the router. So there are two symbols here. This one here is to actually locate the exact cable. This one here is for a general location of cable. So you'll see what I mean here. So we'll turn it to this one. Okay, and you can already hear it start to beep and go off. Let me turn that down a little bit. So there's a volume knob here. I can turn that down. Okay. So you can already see that this is picking up on the signal. It's very weak. The lower the number, the weaker the signal. Okay, but we know that the cable that tone is going through, that signal is nearby. We know that. So the closer I get, okay, the stronger the signal and the louder the tone gets, and the higher the number. But it still is not showing me exactly which one this is. So it could be either one of these. At least I know I'm in the right area. Okay. So now we're going to switch it to the cable locator here to hone it in a little closer. Okay. So we know we're close still, but not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, way up on that one. Let's see, is it this one? It dropped. No, no, no. Okay. Up, we're all the way up on this one. Okay. And then we can drop down. Make sure it's not this one. Nope. Go here. Yep. Okay. So we found our cable. This definitely is the cable that we have our toner hooked up to on the other end. All right. So what we can do, turn that off. Now we can go ahead and pull that cable. Okay. And now we're going to cable map. We're going to cable map it. So now that we've identified our cable, we now have it plugged in, and we're going to map it as we did before to be sure that our cable is not the issue. Okay, so this cable tests good. So now we know for a fact that whatever issue we're having with our network has nothing to do with the cable running from here to the other side of the building. We have now confirmed that. So we can rest easy knowing that our cable run is not the issue here. We don't have to worry about that. Let me show you another benefit of being able to tone wires out like that with this thing. So I'm going to keep it plugged in at the router, okay? And let's just say this runs down into the wall, okay, and then maybe goes up into a drop ceiling or something, right? And we have no idea where it runs, and we need to know where it runs, okay? So I want to show you how we can do that if we're in any kind of environment where we need to find the cable that's running like up in ceilings or in a wall. Okay, here's an example of, in most environments you're going to get cables that run through drop ceilings, but where I'm at in particular, that particular cable is running up in an attic. So I'm here in a room this is between the router and the switch, and So what I need to do is figure out where this line runs in the, because I want to trace it. I want to know where it's at up in this ceiling here, which is similar to what you can do is if you're looking for, say, trying to trace a cable that's in like a drop ceiling or something. So we can start maybe on this side here, and we can take our tester, and nothing here, nothing here. Just kind of running along the ceiling just to see if you can pick up on the signal. Okay, and what I have this set to is locate, not the exact cable here, but in general, this is the general location of a cable. So you make sure you have it set to there, and just run that toner along the ceiling until you pick up on the signal. Oh, let's see, got something here. Okay. Okay. Okay, now I know that that cable is somewhere running along right in here. Because if I come back this way, it goes away. It's not here. So let me come back this way, and I'm picking up on it. It's getting louder as I get closer to the, okay, so I know that cable is running right about here. Okay, so in this room, so if I had to pop out like a drop ceiling up here, if I had to pop a drop ceiling out right there, that's where I know I would have to lift one out and to find the cable if that's what I needed to do. Okay, so let's go into the next room and trace it. Okay, this is the next room over. All right, and so I'm going to try to find that line. And not yet, not yet. Not yet. Oh, got something right here. Okay, it goes further away. Bring it back. Okay, right about here is where that line runs. So now I know where that line runs. Okay, awesome. So let's go on the other side of the room here. Let's come down this way. And let's see where it runs. We've got an air conditioned vent here. So we're close. Okay, and on this side of the room, we're right about here. Okay, so I would say this line runs right out this way into this other room. So yeah, that's just to give you an idea of how convenient this tool is, how powerful this tool is. Okay guys, well I hope this helps somebody to make their network troubleshooting a little bit more easy. Several ways to do it as I showed you, and I hope this helps somebody out. Please rate and subscribe to my feed. I would really appreciate that. I'll put a link to this Fluke toner down below in the comments. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and see you next time.